Relax in the coaching lounge and engage with compelling, motivational speakers. Be prepared to transform your inner world, to shape your outer world through empowering discussions. Tune into the Coaching Lounge now.
You're tuned in to another episode of the Coaching Lounge with your host, Rebecca Gordon, lead life coach at satellitelifecoaching.com. Listen to interviews with creative thinkers, motivational speakers, models of success, and key people of influence. Tune in, relax, engage, and transform your life now. My name is Rebecca Gordon. I'm a life coach and CEO of Satellite Life Coaching. I absolutely love what I do, and one of the things that I really enjoy is speaking to guests on my podcast show, which you're tuning into right now, called The Coaching Lounge. I've actually spoken to a lot of guests from the UK, from abroad, from the States, from Malaysia, guests who are so inspirational and motivational and have a lot to share to help us to think about how we are going about our lives on our journey and how we can actually become fulfilling and self-actualizing in reaching our potential by doing the things that we've always wanted to do. And I'm very pleased to say that I have a great example of this in the person that I'll be interviewing in my podcast today. And in today's interview, I'm going to delve into the mind of an entrepreneur, find out what sort of mindset, find out what we need to be thinking about if we want to go into our own business, to become an entrepreneur, to be self-sufficient in that way, and to find out what motivates him. Now, my guest is Liji Reid. Liji Reid is a narrative-based graphic designer from Birmingham, United Kingdom. Liji was born from two creative parents who were both artists in their own right. His mother was a singer, along with his father, who also sung and created art. Liji Reid has a vast amount of graphic experience that dates back as early as 2007. Now going under the name Nage GFX or Nage Graphics, he is gradually becoming internationally known. From working with local businesses to international artists Liji grew up listening to, he plans to open doors with his creative key and leave his stamp on the world, one design at a time. So as I said, today I'm going to talk to Liji about the work he does and what it takes to develop the mindset of an entrepreneur. Welcome to the Coaching Lounge, Liji.
Hi, how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm very glad to be here with you today. Because in this interview, I'm actually going to ask you a few questions. I mean, I've known you for a little while now, but I want to ask you a few questions just based on your introduction here, things that I didn't know about you that I'm actually fascinated with. Let's talk about your name, Liji. What does that mean? Does it mean anything?
Well, my name is actually Ethiopian, and also I think it's Chinese as well. It's used in China a lot. In Chinese, it means bringing calm to a storm. I still got to research what it means to in Ethiopian because my dad got it out of an Ethiopian book. So basically, I just have to research Ethiopian names and see what it means.
Okay.
And then, so
it's nice to have a name with that type of history, isn't it? Because how does it make you feel?
To be honest, they always say that you have to live up to your name. So when I actually did see that, I was thinking it does meet my character. It does match my character. So it's just a matter of pushing forward with it. To be honest,
Excellent.
Hopefully the storm, whatever comes, is not too heavy to bear. But yeah,
well, you're doing great so far, I must say. So let's just talk about your background, because it sounds like you have been like you've been immersed in a family, the people around you, where you've got much creativity or exposure to that and exposure to inspiration. So
Yeah.
tell me about your mother and your father. Your mother was a singer, your father also sung and created art. Tell me a bit about them, please.
Well, my mother she was in a band called Inspiration when she was a teen. I think she met my dad in the musical circuit. He was in a band as well. I think they both split from their individual bands and they formed their own bands. They could have took it further, but obviously they had my brother and myself. But my dad was an artist as well, illustrator, and he used to be in a band with one of the bass players from Steel Pulse. So
Okay.
in that circuit, he used to. I think it was Fat Man. I forgot what the name is. Hands Earth Revolution. I think it was.
Okay.
I just remember as a child him taking me to the studio, well, to a
Mm.
basement, and I just remember a room full of smoke and rastas and singing. That's all I remember as a child. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's what I remember. And as far as the art goes, he
Uh-huh.
was always drawing, always sketching. And
Mm-hmm.
I just used to get inspiration from it. And
Mm.
I would say, if I could put it in a nutshell, I'd say I was born from a musical family.
Mm.
My cousins, they DJ. My granddad was one of the first DJs in Jamaica.
Wow.
Used to travel the world DJing. So I was just
Mm.
born from a musical artistic family. So yeah,
Excellent. Okay. So let's talk about you and what you do. Now, your business name is called Nage Graphics, and the graphics is spelled GFX.
yeah.
Where does that name come from?
Okay, well, I'd have to tell you a little story. Basically, what it was, I was in college. I was studying graphics in college. Most of it self-taught and from what some of my friends told me, but I took it upon myself to go to college. And basically, what it was coming to the my FMP, my final major project. And unfortunately, throughout that time, my dad passed away.
Oh, sorry to
So
hear that.
it was very hard to focus, but I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me just pass at least.
Uh-huh.
So we had a task set that we had to basically create our own font. So
Right.
basically, I was just sketching up, and then I came out with an idea, and I done the alphabet with the font what I created, and with these fonts that I created, I just basically done individual logos, and there was this logo that came out NAGE, and I just said, oh, there's something about that logo. So I
Mm.
said, you know something, I'm gonna put it aside. One day I'll probably use it for something.
Mm.
So after that, because I was involved with my friends, one of my friends he was starting up an independent record label, and we was all friends and we was all delegated jobs, and my job was the art department because obviously that was my field,
Mhm.
and basically what it was, we all used to pitch in. We was very known in Birmingham for a minute, but then life happened and we all went our separate ways. We're still friends, but we all went our separate ways. I had another child, and what I mean, we all had to go our separate ways.
Mhm.
But I wanted to start the graphics back up again. So
Mhm.
then I went back into my book, saw the logo, and I was thinking, I'm going to use this logo, but NAGE, what can that stand for? And I thought about it. Okay, New Age Graphics Evolution,
Oh.
because it's
Mm.
basically, as far as I'm concerned, I'm of the new age, even though I am older in age. Well, not
Mhm.
that old, but
So, well, you're not as old
basically,
as me. Let's just put it that way.
yeah.
Yes.
So I thought, yeah, that would be a good abbreviation for it,
Mm.
and it does make sense because I'm trying to evolve in my personal life
Mhm.
and my work life. So yeah, and
Mhm.
then the GFX, yeah, graphics. So
Yeah.
it just made sense.
Okay.
So yeah,
I
that's
mean,
how it started.
now that you've broken that down, new age, I can actually
Hmm.
see it in your artwork, because your artwork is sort of like quite advanced and quite revolutionary, quite sharp, isn't it? And
Hmm.
fresh,
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah. So a very fitting business name, I would say. So you are a graphic designer, and you now currently work with a lot of people. When did you first start up your business?
Well, I would say I started this business, I would say about three, two, 2 to 3 years ago. But
Mm.
like I said before that, I was working with my friends, and like I said, my friend had an independent record label that he was trying to start up. And to be fair, if it wasn't for him, because he taught me so much, I already told him already. I said, when I make it big, because I know I am. I know it
Yes.
sounds crazy, but I'm going to make it big somehow, somewhere. I said, the first person that's going to get the big check is you, because if he didn't have his own dream for his individual path,
Yeah.
then it wouldn't open up the dream to my path, because he taught me what he learned just to look after his art department, but he told me structure, he
Yeah.
taught me how to research, he taught me a
Yes.
lot of things, and I'll always be grateful. And it's a good thing that it's coming from somebody that I can call a true friend, and also who I can trust
Mm.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I would say my knowledge started. Before
Mm.
that, it was always self-taught, drawing, trying out new things. But when it came to getting serious, he showed me the programs, what to use. He showed me certain structure, how the big boys present things, how when it comes to
Mm.
print and CMKY and RGB, he taught me. And
Okay.
then he put me out to tutorials. Then it
I
just started
see.
from there. It was just a snowball, to be honest.
Right. Okay. So you had the passion and you had the
Yeah, definitely.
skill, but he helped you to understand you had to have that sharpness of the business
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is very business minded, so that's one thing that he did show me. So
Okay. And that
I'm
is important when we have any type of thinking that we want to go into a business. You know, the passion is great, but we need to know that we are going to develop some structures and discipline to have
yeah,
it take it seriously as a business. Really, that is going to make some money.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah. So you're sharing with us something about what's inspired you. I'm interested to know what. I mean, I can ask you how easy or difficult was it to set up your business, but I really do want to know what were some of the challenges along the way and how did you overcome them?
The challenges was, I would say, I would say reality versus the unknown. The
Okay.
reason why I say the only
Mm.
reason why I say reality versus the unknown. Reality is you're in a 9 to 5 job. You've got kids. You've got a roof over your head. You've got to put in the bills, but then it's like your passions taking over your life. When you're in 9 to 5 work, all you can think about is your passion and what you really want to do. And if you do start it up on the side, so to speak, there's going to be a matter of time before it does take over your life. And then you're forced with a choice. It's either you stay in the 9 to 5 or you pursue your passion and turn it into a business. There is God. You cannot do both. I don't care who you are. You probably say, "Oh yeah, I'll do this on the side." No, if it's successful, you will be forced with a choice. It's either 9 to 5 or your passion. There is nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 job, but if that's not where your heart is at, why waste your own time? I understand that you got to pay your bills, you've got to live, but then that's materialistic and money versus faith and what you've been put on this earth to do. You've been
Mm-hmm.
put on this earth to be happy. And how else are you going to be happy than doing what you want to do, really? So
Mm.
that's one of the realities that I was forced with back then. It was
Okay. Yeah.
I was actually at my 9 to 5 job, and my phone would be going off. I would have to talk to customers. There's times I had to bring my laptop to work. When I had a break, I used to go into work an hour early so
Mm.
I could finish off a job. Then at
Mm-hmm.
break time, continue the job when I go home, do the job until early hours in the morning. Then when I turn around, it's time to go to work. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I
So
would
we've
say
yeah. Sorry, carry on.
no, I was just about to say yeah. So I would say it's passion versus reality, and so
Okay. So we've got some strong values there that have helped you to
hmm
get to where you are today. The
yeah,
value of discipline,
hmm
focus, determination, and just being relentless about making your passion real and giving it, some meat, giving meat to the bones. Because I think you are right, we could sort of like straddle two fences. But you see, one thing about a passion, which when I speak to my coaching clients, they say, I really want to do this, and I've had this thought for years and years or what have you. The thing is that the passion will never go away.
Nah, never.
Yeah,
Never.
and it's like, I can't remember who said it, I don't know who said it. It's like, you don't want to die with the music still in you, you want it to come
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's like obviously there's a lot of sayings. It's like Les Brown says, what did you say? You want to die empty, not full.
oh,
And obviously,
yes.
yeah, the
Yeah.
graveyard is the it's full of millionaires. The graveyard, and that's one thing
Uh-huh.
that I want to get out of my system. All these ideas,
Uh-huh.
what I want to contribute to the world. Obviously, I'm not at a place where I want to be, but at least I can say I've made that decision and I'm sticking to it regardless. And that's one thing that I can tick off my so-called bucket list. I've made a decision about my life
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going for it, because everyone can make a decision about where they want to go on holiday, what kind of car they want to drive. But when it comes to your life, your real life, not materialistic objects, can you say you've made 120% decision that you're going to do this and you're going to go for it, and regardless of the outcome, you're going to stick with it, because you know what the outcome is going to be if you go for that job or if you acquire that qualification. There's nothing wrong with it, but you're doing it because you know the outcome. But how many people can put their all into something that they don't know what the outcome is going to be? Who can walk into the unknown with faith? Because that's what I'm really doing.
But
So,
you do have to have some faith. I mean, it's coupled with hard work, isn't it? I mean, there is
yeah,
a saying,
definitely.
yeah, faith without works is dead.
It's right, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a Bible scripture there, yes. So what I'm hearing actually is that we have to have seriousness about what we want to do, yes. So tell me then, I'm getting the picture, structure, discipline, determination, focus, being serious about your life, and making a decision to commit to what you say you want to do. Those are ingredients for success. Yeah, okay. So, in terms of the work that you do, what type of designer are you?
I would say I'm narrative driven. To some people, my designs will look basic, and very clean. Obviously, there's a reason for it. They're very customer based, but I would say that, like I said, some of my work is narrative driven. There's always a meaning behind it. If you can't see the meaning through the title, you can ask me about it and I will tell you the meaning.
All right, okay.
So basically, eventually what I am going to do, I'm going to do installation and I'm going to do an exhibition. Yeah. So I can basically hone more practice and really push my ideas in a way that's separate from a customer-based work.
Okay.
So they can see the depth that I can go to.
So in terms of the designs then, do your customers come to you with some ideas and then you put the ideas on paper, or do they come with drawings, or do they have an idea of what they want?
It varies basically. Some customers do. Some customers say, yeah, I've got this idea, here's a drawing, and I want to see what you can do. Or some customers just leave it, excuse me, in my hands totally, because I just go off the title and what the business is about or what the artist is about, and I base the actual logo around who you are. It's like, for instance, I've got a logo to do for a boxer that's just turning pro, and basically he was saying to me, "Oh, I've got a logo already, and this is what the logo is. But can you do a better one? Because I might just keep that one." And I suggested, I said, "Listen, don't keep that one." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because you'll get bored of it." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because number one, it doesn't explain who you are as a boxer, as a personality." And he said, "I don't know what you mean." I said, "All right, and then for instance, take Anthony Joshua. Look at his logo. It's basic, isn't it?" Because yeah. It's not basic to me. It's what they mean. I said it's the word. The letters are spaced out. The kernels are spaced out evenly. Who is he as a person? He looks like a kind-hearted, genuine person. If you look at his logo, that's what it is. It's genuine, spaced out, and it's clear for you to see. With Anthony Joshua as a person, you get what you see. That logo explains who he is. People do not look into the deepness of the artwork and graphics because, believe it or not, graphics do rule the world.
Well,
because
yes.
if you look at things like street signs, now you've got street signs and roadwork signs. There's a font called Helvetica.
Oh yeah.
That font covers the whole of the UK and probably the world when it comes to street signs. The only way that you'll be able to how can I put it? Not recognize that font is being used. It's only if that font's being changed because it's being programmed. When it comes to graphics, you're getting programmed, but you don't know. It's very deep. It's very deep, believe me. But people just think it's pictures and Vistaprint. You know what I mean? So
yes.
It's deep, man. It is deep.
Yeah. So like the visual images. I mean, there's energy behind the visual images, isn't there? Really.
Yeah.
So it's
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So with the logos, you're saying simple and effective. I've actually just looked on the internet and seen Anthony Joshua's logo, and what I can see is that the font is spaced out, spread out wide, and sort of like thick and big at the top. Yeah.
Exactly. It's sure that's his personality. It's like it's because I said to him as a boxer, I said, did you see the logo what he had before? He said, no. I said, look at it and look at it compared to what he had now. It explains his personality. Look at Tyson's logo, thick, bold font. Basically, when Tyson was in his prime, that's what he was all about. He was big. He was about his business. It wasn't no flashiness. He's coming into the ring to knock somebody out. Right. Simple. So when it comes to graphics, if there's anybody out there that's looking for a logo, not of myself, or just looking for to rebrand their company, make sure whoever is doing your artwork matches your logo with your personality of your business. It has to match. It has to match. You gotta really look at the logos, what you're surrounded by when it comes to fast food, when it comes to sportswear. Just take time to have a look. Because we're running out of these shops all day, every day, we don't really take time to look. Even the colors, what they use. There's a thing called psychographics. Psychographics that analyzes that basically that plays around with your brainwaves. It's very, like I said, it's very deep. Yeah, it's very deep. It's very deep.
Psychographics.
Psychographics, basically. Obviously, as humans, we react to colors. Every color has a mood, and even fonts promote emotions and reactions. Everything plays a part with the human brain. You probably like something and you don't know why you like it. It's like when it comes to an advert, just say an advert, Burger King advert, they'll have a picture of the burger, and then all of a sudden they'll go to a shot where you've got the lettuce going in slow motion and the water touching the lettuce, and then all of a sudden you feel like a burger when the advert's done. You get what I mean? So it's basically it's dealing with the brain. Everything is visual. So unless you're blind, you are taking it in whether you like it or not.
So let's talk about the colours then. Okay.
Yeah.
My logo is pink. And as you know, I do a coaching service. Now, would that be the best colour for my...
Yeah, definitely, because pink is a friendly colour. It's a friendly colour. It's inviting. I would say it's feminine, but not nowadays, to be honest, because men wear pink all the time. Not me personally, but it's an inviting colour. Yeah. It's a safe colour. It's a safe colour, so it's semi-warm, but it's more friendly. It's a friendly colour.
Well, listeners, there you've heard it from a graphics expert. My logo, Satellite Life Coaching, is friendly, warm and inviting. Come on in. Excellent. I'm loving this interview because actually it's nice to, hear about images, logo, representations, branding from another side. Normally, we're from I am a receiver of all of this information in terms of looking at it and out there and seeing all these images, but just to hear someone and thinking of it as a psychological thing, and it's actually quite, it helps to shift a perspective and helps one to sharpen up how they would represent themselves if they are wanting to start a business, and how to think about their own logo and what it means. So thank you very much.
This episode is sponsored by SatelliteLifeCoaching.com, providers of your personal and professional coaching needs. This podcast is also sponsored by HikaOnline.co.uk, creators of culturally specific education resources that engages your child to succeed. Here's your host, Rebecca Gordon.
So you've mentioned a boxer. Tell us something about other people you've worked with. What sort of businesses, industries do they come from?
Some come from music. I would say most some of them are independent up and coming businesses, but I'm getting a lot of music. It's funny the way how the music works. It's because I could be watching an interview with an artist and I'll just come out with it. I'll say, you know what, I'm going to work with them. And it ends up happening. It's crazy. I don't know why. I'm going to end up working with that person. And it happens. I've built a rapport with an artist from overseas. And it was funny because I've listened to their music like throughout my teenage years. And it's very funny how the internet makes the world smaller, and a lot of people don't take advantage of that fact.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the work, like I said, sorry.
When you say overseas, you've got to tell us which country.
It's America.
Oh,
America.
Is it a well-known artist?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're well known. They're well known to my generation, I would say. Not to his association. Yeah, they're probably known, but to my generation, yeah, they're probably known. So.
Exciting. So, I'm interested to know, I mean, as a young black man living in the UK, I think it is, we're talking about being open and honest in our conversations so we can get the best out of them and support whoever, we're here to support who's listening to this. And I think it's fair to say that young black men have a hard time.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely. We have a hard time, but we've got to realize it's the best time. It's the best time now for us to really rise, because if you really look at the day that we're living in now in today's society, no one really cares. So we've got to really care for each other, especially in my field. I remember when I was at college, my teacher, he wasn't the most kindest person when it comes to critiquing work. And basically, he was shouting at the class, everyone individually. And then he came to me and he says, and another thing, and Liji, you've got to really realize that there's no black famous graphic designers. And I looked and I was thinking, he's right. Like, even though this was like a while back, he was right, because when I looked into the actual industry, white, Chinese, but there wasn't no black graphic designers. There probably is now, but obviously as black men, there is going to be a fight, regardless in what you do. It doesn't even need to be in the graphics or the art space. There is going to be a fight, but you just gotta call on the ancestors. You just gotta basically know that you're a fighter. We've been born fighting, so it's time to use it to your advantage.
So draw from the strength within.
Yeah, you gotta draw from it. You gotta turn that oppression into power, because no one else is gonna help you. Not probably not even your friend. So you just gotta have faith, and you gotta go for it.
Because I think the thing is, you see, is that you say there were no black graphic designers at the time, and yes, that may be true. However, it probably could be that the visibility is not as raised as for other groups.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the
Definitely.
talent is there, the skill is there, the
Yeah.
expertise is there, but the
Yeah.
visibility is not there.
The
And
only the thing about sorry to cut you out. The thing about graphic design, it's like I think the graphic designers, the black graphic designers, the app developers and everything, I think we need to make our own industry where we hand out our own awards because I remember there was at college there was another teacher that was teaching animation and he was a black teacher. He was a black teacher and I knew him because his wife was my friend's sister.
okay,
And he was a great animator, wicked at what he did, but for some reason everybody in the class was giving him a fight except for me. And I was like, and I used to cuss some of these boys in the class, obviously because I knew him, but I just realized it's like they had animosity towards him for no reason. And I would talk to him, I say, do you feel the energy what these people give? He says, you know what, I'm getting a bigger fight with the higher ups. And obviously got into an argument with somebody, one of the lecturers, and they called him the N-word.
okay.
So this is what I mean. And it was a fight. That was when I was leaving. But obviously now he turned it around. He started up his own agency and he's doing well. But it's just another case in point of the fight. But like I said, if there's anyone out there in the art industry who is black, make an art industry strictly for black people, black women, black men, black boys, black girls, where we appreciate each other, give out awards, because we're not going to get recognized, man. We're not going to get recognized unless we're standing next to a Caucasian.
Yeah, so certainly I think it's a case of saying, okay, we have to recognize our strengths, recognize our talents, and know that there will be challenges, but we have to look at the bigger picture and, like what you've said, associate with your peer group who's going to support you to develop your passion, develop your business mind, and just to rise through the challenges. Because it's fair to say there will be challenges, but you've got to know who you are and what you're about and what you want. Like you said, and I'm going to read your quote again. Liji Reid says, you have to make a decision about your life.
Yeah.
That's a quote from Liji Reid. Make a decision about your life. Because you know what? It's easy to blame, isn't it? Very easy to blame. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's about what are you going to do to make the difference for yourself.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true.
Okay. So, we're getting a really, really good picture of what makes you tick. And about your values and your beliefs, some really good, positive and strong beliefs there. What are you trying to achieve with your work?
What I'm trying to achieve, I'm trying to put a stamp, my stamp and my interpretation of my view of the world and present it to the world. Because when I actually do a design, I don't see it as a design. I just see it as a part of me that I've left with somebody to do with what they want. Because I know when that day does come a long time from now, when I do leave this earth, there's going to be bits of me around the place. So
it's that legacy.
I know so I know it sounds a bit weird, but I see it as every time I do a design, that's a part of me that came out of my brain. Obviously, if I'm going off your instructions to do the artwork, so be it. But if you left it up to me, that is what I presented, and it's going to be left there as long as you don't change it. But I just want to provoke emotion, positive emotion, and even if I can interest somebody into graphics from my work, or even thinking, just provoking thoughts. after work that I do, half of my job's done.
I saw one of your designs on Instagram actually,
Yeah.
and it's the one with the barber. It's
Okay.
a recent one. That one's really what's the word? It's visually bold, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
definitely is. Yeah,
quite
definitely.
visually bold, yeah. So I know that we're on a podcast show here, so people
Hmm.
can't quite see the logo until we direct them to your website. But
Yeah.
how would you describe that logo so that the listener can get a picture in their mind's eye?
Well, basically, it's a logo for barbers, for a barber, and basically what it is, it's a man from Caribbean descent and back to back with a man that's actually white, and it's basically it's just explaining a haircut in a nutshell. Basically, it's just saying I do white and black hair
Hmm.
without saying I do white and black hair.
That's the thing about the logo because
Yeah,
the logo just speaks
yeah, it
just
just
visually,
speaks. Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah, it
Yeah.
speaks diversity basically.
That's
So
right.
it's
That's right. Yeah, and you
so
can just
that's what it is.
yeah. I'm looking at your Instagram page here,
Hmm.
and we're going to give out your contact details shortly. But there's
Yeah,
another one, and it's Inspired Action. That's a nice logo. It's simple, but it's
yeah,
strong.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just I'm gonna have a look at that because to be honest, I do so much logos I don't even check. One
Yeah,
second,
you've done a
I'll have a
lot
look.
of logos. And even, we're giving some shout outs to these businesses here. There's one called Gems Nails.
Yeah, everyone. To be honest, everyone loves that. And Gems. Now she's very good. She's very good at what she does. And yeah, she definitely needs to get bigged up, man. Because
Yeah.
she has brought a lot of business my way as well. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
So, can
100%.
listeners please, if you're on Instagram, find New Age Nage GFX on Instagram, and just take a little browse through Liji's page, and just look at the stories that his page tells in terms of these images. Yeah, I mean, each one of them you could really analyze. It's like going to looking at your page is like going to an art gallery and just
Yeah,
looking
thank
at
you.
the art,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
just talking about it, exploring it. Okay, so
Mhm.
based on this part of our conversation, what is your overall visual goal?
My overall visual goal. Um, I think it goes back to like what I was saying. Basically provoking thought. I would like to be involved in a major project that will stand the test of time. You know, something that is going to make a real change in somebody's life or even to a mass amount of people. To be honest with me, it's all about legacy. It's just about leaving something here that's visual, that explains what I was about,
Mm-hmm.
my morals, how far I've come, because I'm not the same person I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I've changed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just about expressing the new me to the world and, like I said, provoking thought. Because my slogan is bringing your ideas to life. That's all I do. I bring your ideas to life.
I see.
But obviously,
Okay.
eventually, my ideas are going to come to life, and hopefully, that's when I can provoke thought to the
Mm.
masses. So, yeah,
So extremely passionate. So we've said that already.
yeah.
So question I need to ask you actually is how did you know? When did you recognize that you were on purpose with this?
I would say when one of my friends, he was doing a business, and basically he was on the verge of giving up, and he basically got me back on it as well. So he was on the verge of giving up, and he says, "All right, then, can you do this logo for me? Because I don't want to do it no more, but I said that I wanted you to do the logo. Could you do it for me?" So I've done the logo for him, and I also done something else, just like I think it was a visual advert or something,
Right.
and basically that sparked him that sparked him up. That basically put motivation into him to basically push forward. He was there. I didn't see his reaction. My other friend told me his reaction. He's an emotional person, so when he actually did see the logo and what he'd done, he started crying because he said that I was going to give up, and if you didn't do that, I wouldn't gave up. And so that was like, it was like I said, I like to provoke thought, so I like the reaction of the customers or anybody who I've worked for. I like the reaction. When I get it right, I do like their reaction.
Yeah,
because,
of course, it's that satisfaction,
definitely,
to know that
definitely.
you've contributed. Yeah.
Yeah, so when it comes to purpose, there's so much events that's happened in my life. It's hard to pinpoint one, but I know that if what I'm doing is not my purpose now, it's definitely a connecting road to my purpose. I definitely know that.
Well,
so,
if you don't mind me saying, you are on purpose.
Yeah,
And what you're saying, is that to move and evolve in the purpose is what will naturally come if you stay focused and determined and live your values as you're doing now. So it's just evolving really to that manifestation of that greater purpose. But because you're definitely on purpose, Liji.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what it is, to be honest, sometimes it's I do love what I do, that's why I can do it endlessly, daily.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's hard to see what your purpose is because you've got expectations of what your purpose is. It's supposed to be fireworks and an overwhelming feeling, but it's just the journey, really, what your purpose is, and who knows what the end will be. I'm sure when you do know what the end will be, that's when you actually find your purpose. So
right, or recognise that you found
yeah,
it.
recognize it. Yeah, recognize it. So
now, all the way through this interview, you've touched on something very important, and it comes to your inner circle, because it sounds to me that you have a good circle of supporters, of friends, a core of people who are there with you. Yeah, and I think that, especially for young people, that's something that's very important to consider, who your inner circle is. So let me just ask you then, Liji, how do you... There's a few questions here based on your inner circle. And when I talk about inner circle, just to clarify, I mean the peers, the people you associate with, your friends and so forth.
Yeah.
How do you choose who's in your inner circle? And how do you, maintain your relationships and make sure that the relationships are cultivating you?
Okay, well, obviously, I'm a grown man, and basically my friends are grown men as well. So I would say how I determine who my friends are. It boils down to motivating each other without asking. That's number one. That's also being there for each other when you're down and when you're up. Basically, being honest. If I've offended you in any way, or if you see me traveling down the wrong way, tell me. Don't watch me burn. Tell me. If you're my friend, I don't expect you, but I would like you to tell me that. Lij, you're going down the wrong road. Get back on track. It's like that Tupac song. I don't want to go refer to music, but it's like that Tupac song when it says, "You're trying hard to maintain, but go ahead. I ain't mad at you." It's like two different friends. They grew up the same, but one's taken a different path. But because you're my friend, I'm not mad at you. You're still my brethren. I remember how you was back in the day. Because you're taking a new path in life, I'm not going to turn my back on you. You're still my friend. Because we've been through so much when we've been younger. I know who you are. I know I know your character. I know you're not perfect, but you're still my friend. When it comes to friendship and so-called peers, money has got nothing to do with it. It's deeper than money. you can't buy a friend. That's my idea of friendship. You cannot buy a friend. Like my circle's been the same from since I was like what 10, probably even younger than that. My circle's been the same, but there is times where you do grow apart. But there's nothing wrong with growing apart because you're all evolving. And even if you're away from each other for a year or 2 years, 3 years, and then you get back together, the love's gonna still be the same because you're friends. So it's just recognizing when your friend's gotta fly, wish him luck. You will meet again, and then that's it, really, because we're all grown. We're not kids.
Yeah,
We're not kids.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. But I've heard or been in certain environments where some of the friends that some people choose to have are not really good for their.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You have to really weed out the people that are there for you and the people that are against you. I think when it comes to people being against you, they will expose themselves. I don't think you have to find that. They will actually expose themselves because you will be in a position where I don't know if you're necessarily if you're in trouble, some sort of trouble, or I don't know, you met with some sort of obstacle, and even words from a friend will help you out. And if you can't even get words from somebody, it's just it's kind of a thin line, to be honest, because people do fake out here. People do attach themselves to you because they think you've got more than what you're showing or you're going somewhere. And because they're not happy with their own personal lives, they will attach themselves to you. It's kind of a thin line, but I think when it comes to friends, if someone's there for you when you haven't got nothing, and you ain't quote unquote going in with nothing, that's a friend.
Okay.
And if they don't, and a friend doesn't expect nothing from you. A friend just expects you to be a friend. That's all they expect of you.
Right. Okay. Cool. So, let's touching back on your graphics now. How do you make sure the work that you do aligns with your ethics and morals?
Well, if it's anything that goes against my morals, I'm not doing it. To be honest.
Okay, that's simple.
I'm not really gonna do it. If it compromises what I stand for, I'm not going to do it. I'll point them in the direction of somebody else. It's nothing against the person, but if it doesn't match my morals or what I stand for, I'll just put them on somebody else.
Okay. So, what does it take, in your opinion, to develop the mindset of an entrepreneur?
Wow. I think understand that there's going to be ups and downs. At times it may seem like there's more downs than ups. You got to believe in yourself. You've got to work when it's good, work when it's bad. You just got to consistently keep working. What I tend to do when if I'm at a low, I envision this picture. There's a picture. This meme's been out for quite some time, so I'm sure that all the guests have probably seen it. It's a picture of a gentleman. They're underground and they're digging, and you've got an image of one that's digging at the top, and he looks like he's digging at a very fast speed, and the one at the bottom's walking away from the actual the rubble while he's digging, and he's so close to the diamond or gold or what it is. And it says at the bottom, I think it says don't stop or something, you don't know how close you are. That's the thing about being an entrepreneur.
You've described that so well, Liji. I can see that in your mind's eye.
Well, basically, so it's almost like then you've got to have faith. Yeah, bad times will pass. Things are going to happen, but it goes back to that time. It goes back to what I said before. Make that decision. Once you make that decision, it doesn't matter if your life looks ugly at the moment. It's just the moment. You just got to keep on going. You can't stop. Don't fall victim to distractions. The distractions will always be there. That's why they're called distractions, because they're there to distract you. But just keep on going, because you never know when that time's going to come where you've entered another stage into your life, or your life's been changed from the work what you've done previously. That's what keeps me motivated. I'm nowhere near the place where I want to be now, but I'm not stopping. I've come so far, I'm like, there is no point me turning back. I might as well go straight forward, regardless of the outcome. Keep on going. And a lot of things are happening, even this interview. Now, I never thought I would be interviewed, and that's the truth. I never thought I would be interviewed. So this is a blessing within itself, and I thank you.
No, you're very welcome, because actually, what everything you've said in the 52 minutes that we've been, or 50 odd minutes so far, you know, I believe in the power of the moment, and there is someone listening to this right now, whether they're a parent or whether they're somebody who's starting to start their own business, who actually this moment is designed for them to hear what we're discussing. So if you're listening to this, you can do it. Yeah, and you're feeling something from this, remember, this is the moment when it will all change for you because of what you're hearing today from my guest, Liji Reid. And
make sure you put me in your book, whoever you are. Make sure you put my name in your book, yeah.
Absolutely, in the journal, yeah. When this defining moment, and just to remind you then of two messages that Liji has shared with us today. The first one is make a decision about your life. Simple but strong and effective. Make a decision about your life, and the second one is, don't fall victim to distractions. Yeah. And if we can add on some context to that, distractions could be getting so caught up in the 9 to 5 that your own business aspirations goes by the wayside. It could be friends, it could be relationships, it could be anything. But if you know you've got a purpose, what Liji has said, the other message is to believe in yourself and be consistent. So fantastic messages there, Liji. And just to say, you've actually answered a question that I had written down here, which is how do you maintain motivation and drive? But you have answered it. What keeps you going? Yeah, what keeps you going?
It boils back down to that image what I explained earlier. I don't know how close I am to changing my life, so I can't stop. Yeah, it's just that simple. I can't stop.
And do you find? I mean, you've got a lot of business coming to you. How does that come to you? Is it word of mouth, or are you've got a marketing drive there? How does it?
Basically, it's just word of mouth and actual Instagram. I am working on my website, but it's at the moment it's just word of mouth and Instagram.
Yeah, so. I quite like Instagram. It's quite great for drumming up the energy of support, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what we're going to do now, Liji, is we're going to go into the next section of the programme, which is a favourite section of mine because it's the quick fire questions. Okay. So what we're going to do is, we're going to have a very quick break. And then when we come back, we are going to continue our discussion with Liji Reid, and we're going to ask him some quick fire questions, and then we're going to have Liji share his contact details with us. Please stay tuned. We will be back in a short moment. Imagine you are setting out on a great adventure. You're excited, and even more so because you're travelling in a hot air balloon. You've prepared very well and have all the things you think you may need for the journey. Not long after setting off, you realise the balloon is struggling to reach the right altitude. It seems that some things you decided to take with you are having an adverse effect, and you're being slowed down. The journey can only successfully be completed if you attain a particular altitude. That height is where the wind or energy steadily flows and is moving in the right direction. Your progress is being impeded because your luggage is cumbersome and it doesn't allow you to effortlessly reach the optimal height. You've got to keep moving. You've got to flow without restriction. You've got to do what it takes to give your vehicle permission to rise. You've got to make some tough decisions about what to keep and what to let go. As you scan your environment, you have a light bulb moment. You realise there are some things you've chosen to carry that are actually not needed at all. You notice things from the past that you've become accustomed to having around just because. There are things that have long fulfilled their purpose and are now outdated, unnecessary attachments, no matter how comfortable they may feel to have around. You didn't notice this before because there was never a need to stop and take an inventory of your life. As the realization deepens, you feel an overwhelming wave of gratitude. Everything has a purpose. However, not everything is required at this moment or for this journey. To advance is to pause right now and explore some deep questions that will help you to raise your game. And only by releasing some stuff will you rise and expedite your journey to greatness. Using this analogy, think about anything that you feel is limiting you. This could relate to people, places, possessions, attitude, or even a way of thinking. Get a notebook and a pen, and at the top of a page, write a brief description of what you feel is restricting your flow. The key is to be honest. There are no wrong answers, just honest reflection. Use the coaching questions in this Permission to Rise coaching tool to help you get clarity on the way forward. Remember, after each question, take a moment to stop the recording and write down what comes to mind. Question 1. What's stopping you from making progress in this situation? Question 2. What's another way to think about this? Question 3. What's likely to happen if things remain the same? Question 4. What experience would you like to have instead that is liberating? Describe this by writing what you sense yourself doing, what you hear yourself saying, and who you see yourself with. Question 5. For this to happen, what needs to happen? Write a list of possibilities. Question 6. From your list, highlight the action that inspires you. The action that leads to velocity. The action that maintains momentum. Write dates to show when you will start to put these actions into motion. Remember to tick off the actions as you complete them. That will show your progress. And periodically ask yourself these follow-on questions. How did completing this action make me feel? What results did I gain because of my commitment? What will I do to keep moving? You can recreate this exercise for any other area of your life in which you want more clarity. To get a copy of this exercise, email info@satellitelifecoaching.com with permission to rise as the subject. Please also email to let me know the difference that this tool has made in your world. That's the random thought for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for staying tuned. I'm your guest. Sorry, I'm not your guest actually. I'm your host. Thank you for staying tuned. I'm your host, Rebecca Gordon, and I'm here with Liji Reid, who is an amazing person to speak to. A lot of depth to this interview. Because Liji has spoken to us about his business, about his inspiration, his aspirations, his motivation, and just what drives him to move forward and keep his business consistently going. So he shared a lot of information, and it might be worthwhile to listen to this interview more than once actually, to just draw upon the different aspects of the messages that we're getting here today. But now we're going to move into the quick fire round. And Liji, I'm just going to ask you to answer some questions for me. Are you ready?
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm cool. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
Right, first one. What was the last book you read? Or what book are you currently reading?
Message to a Black Man.
Okay.
Yeah, Message to a Black Man. That's all. I need to finish reading it, to be honest. But yeah, Message to a Black Man.
What's the strongest message you've got from it so far?
I would say the strongest message what I got from it so far. I would say accountability.
Accountability.
And being self-sufficient.
Okay. So
accountability and being self-sufficient.
Good. Okay. So how do you make sure that you're accountable?
Having great coaches like yourself.
Right, thank
you. Having a coach. Trying to write a list every day and making sure I'm ticking those lists off. That's about it when it comes to accountability.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, we are almost towards the end of 27. Sorry, we are almost to the end of 2017. And my word for 2017 is traction. So what that means for me, is getting a grip and then rolling forward, some really good tires and they're just rolling. So that's my word for 2017. What's your word for 2017?
My word for 2017 would be I would say depth.
Oh, okay. And tell us a little bit more about depth for you, what that means for you.
What it means for me, I've learned so much about myself as a person. And I would say me knowing that will give me traction for 2018.
So you're going to borrow my word, are you?
Yeah, well, the universe works in wonderful ways, isn't it? So I would say it's that, because I've learned so much about myself as a person, good and bad. So it can propel me in 2018, God willing.
Good. So you've had some lessons, Tell me the greatest lesson so far for you.
I think I underestimated myself when it comes to my work, because the people what I've spoke to and I've attracted this year, it's mind blowing to myself. Like I said, I could watch something, I say I'm going to work with you, and it happens.
Wow.
I actually underestimated myself. So
that's really touching. Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay, so next question: are you a hammer or a nail?
I would say I'm a nail.
Okay. What makes you a nail?
Because I'm a sharp object. I can pierce through most things, and if I'm pushed the right way, I can hold things together.
Excellent. Wow. That's really nice. I can see why you're creative, Liji. Yeah, you've also got a great way with words as well. Yeah. So, who inspires you?
Life itself, to be honest, that's inspiration. Yeah, just life within itself.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, God's the best graphic designer
Right.
in the whole universe.
Yeah.
Because when we see nature, that's that's him taking his pen or whatever it was to use to actually create. So he is the best visual artist.
Mm,
So I would say, yeah,
okay.
life in general is my inspiration.
Okay. So that raises another question that I'd like to ask you.
Okay.
When you're not doing your graphic design work, what do you do, to enjoy your life, to balance yourself?
Well, I do a bit of sketching, and that still would work. And that's the thing; it almost feels like now that's all I'm doing is constantly graphic work because it doesn't feel like work to me because I enjoy doing it. But I'm starting to take massages. I'm gonna have a lot more massages, put it that way.
Great.
And probably get down to meditation. I'm started going back to the boxing gym. So yeah, that's it. Just
Okay.
keeping myself fit and healthy and my mind sharp.
Good,
Basically.
good. Okay. And what's next for you?
What's next? Basically do a lot more networking. God willing, an exhibition, a few more things in the pipeline, and more networking. But I want to be internationally based. Rather than me speaking to these people, I do want to make an excuse to go and actually visit them in their countries.
Okay.
I'd rather meet somebody face to face. So it's just main international networking, if I could put it
Right.
into words. So
Well, I'll tell you what, you've sent that
mhm.
out into the universe and it will happen.
Yeah, for real. It's
Yeah.
very,
Yeah, because you've
very
already
true.
said whatever
Yeah.
you command, you
hmm
actually put it into reality. It becomes reality. So, yeah, and that is the power of the belief that fuels the drive that results in an action that makes it happen. So, keep me updated with that, please.
Yeah, definitely will do. Definitely
Great.
will.
Okay. So, can you share your contact details with our audience, please, Liji?
Yeah, that's no problem. If you want to see my work, it's on Instagram. It's at Nage_graphics. That's NAGE_GFX. My website is currently getting built. But if you want to basically put the website address just for keepsake, it's nagegraphics.com. So if you go to it, you'll probably see under construction, but it will be finished early next year.
Okay.
And my email, if you want to get to me, if you're interested in any work, it's nagegraphics@gmail.com or newagegraphicsevo@hotmail.com. You can reach
Excellent.
me on both of them.
Okay.
So
So on that Instagram page, we want to see some likes, people. Like. Yeah, okay. And then, Liji, what are the last few words you'd like to share with our audience, please?
okay, this goes out to the person who's listening to this and probably considering taking that step to basically turning their passion into a business. My few messages to you is you never know until you try, and you only got one life to live, and it's entirely up to you. You know that you're unhappy. Deep down, you know you're unhappy. At the end of the day, we've only been put on this earth to be happy and be the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be. So start today and go for it and trust and believe in yourself. You're unique. There's only one version of you, so why not express it to the world? Go for it, man.
Now,
That's
that's you did say your word is depth, and that's a deep message.
yeah.
So take heed if you're listening and you like what you hear and you've got inspiration from this. Be in touch with Liji Reid and just go and do what you've been put on this earth to do. Liji, thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
It's been an amazing interview, I am really happy that you've shared time with me in the coaching lounge, and we'll have to connect and touch base so you can tell us about your international developments as that happens.
Thank you for tuning into the Coaching Lounge. Join us next time for more insightful interviews with inspiring guests. You can hear previous shows on SoundCloud by searching for Satellite Life Coaching. We're always interested to hear your feedback and topic suggestions, so don't hesitate to email us on info@satellitelifecoaching.com.